Well, if anybody hasn't seen Eddie Nunez, the reason why? The park has signs clearly marked everywhere, no dogs allowed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the first video I've done like this in a very long time. And this is the first video I've done with the Mavic 4 Pro since I initially reviewed it. Let me explain why. See, back in June, I visited Pilot Institute, and during that time, I had brought the Mavic 4 Pro out with me to film some videos. When I was there, I asked them if they wanted to borrow it to make some tutorials and some content, and it's been sitting there since June. Now, I just got it back last week, I think the first or second week of September, so I've basically been without it for over 2 months' time. And in that 2 months' time, I have not missed not having the Mavic 4 Pro one single bit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the Mavic 4 Pro, in my opinion, is my most hated aircraft, and mostly because it just doesn't do the things that I expected it to do very well. First things first, the Mavic 4 Pro is significantly slower than that of the Air 3S, and it's a lot less agile. And then there's the fact of the vertical video. For me, the vertical video is pretty much useless to do the true vertical simply because of the limited angle that the camera can pitch. It just makes it sort of cumbersome to try to use. Now, of course, one could say you could always put it in the crop mode and use vertical like you do the Air 3S. However, due to that 28mm field of view, it really narrows down the perspective that you're able to achieve with this drone, essentially rendering it useless for me because I have to be way further back away from my subject to even get equivalent framing to that I can get with the Air 3S. So again, for real estate, it just renders it sort of useless. Now, I've been pretty patient waiting for software updates and things like that to come to this drone to hopefully rectify some of those issues. But thus far, most of the updates have not changed the overall performance from how it actually performed at launch. Now, with all that being said, you can't deny that the camera on this, the cameras on the Mavic 4 Pro are absolutely incredible. And I was still able to achieve what I would consider to be some of the best footage I've ever shot coming up here to the Northeast. But looking at this from a business perspective, if I'm not going to be able to utilize a piece of equipment as the tool and a tool to make money, for me, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm sure there's going to be other photographers, videographers as well that will probably agree with me on this and echo the same sentiment that it just doesn't quite live up to the hype that was initially advertised, or maybe that we had in our minds before we were able to get our hands on this drone. But like I said, I did get some amazing video and photos with this drone while I've been here in the Northeast. So I did put together a cinematic compilation for you to watch and view, which will probably totally contradict everything I said. But keep in mind, I'm looking at this from a specific niche, not the totality of the product itself. Just for my needs specifically, if you're in real estate or something similar, this may or may not work out for you. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this video clip.